俺は弟弟子として、お姉さんに一生ついていきたいだけだから。
500 years ago, the Demon Emperor led the demons in an invasion of the mortal realm. Evil creatures roamed the land ever since, and there was no peace. Various cultivation sites came together to form the Immortal Alliance to fight back against the Demon Emperor. However, he could not be eradicated for centuries due to his formidable strength. That was until Lord Zhongyuan appeared. He sacrificed his life to seal the Demon Emperor in Ji Forest, thus ending the centuries-long battle between humans and demons. 300 years have passed, the sites have gradually recovered their strength, and the human world has regained its former prosperity. However, a new danger looms on the horizon. Chengshuo Mountain Square. Standing in the square before the mountain gates, your master, the head of the Chengshuo mountain site, Master Wei Kang, strokes his beard and sighed at a paper talisman suspended in the air. Master, you called for me? At the sound of your voice, your master passes you the talisman, marked with the Immortal Alliance's seal. It reads, "Anomalies have appeared in G Forest. We must gather and discuss." You haven't seen a summon like this since the war. You thought peace was here to stay after the war, so this was unexpected. It says there's an anomaly in G Forest. Could it have something to do with the Demon Emperor that's been sealed away? Your master strokes his beard, shaking his head in resignation.
まだ何とも言えないが、近隣に出没してる妖魔はどれも収束の森から来ているそうだ。連盟は万葉王が絡んでると見ているが、何はともあれ対策を練るつもりなのだろう。
A discussion about countermeasures, so that means the situation over there hasn't gotten too serious yet. You breathe a sigh of relief. When are you planning on leaving, Master?
今はまだ大きな異変はないが、早く行動するに越したことはないからな。明日の朝には出立するつもりだ。お前は一番弟子だ。適当な弟子を数人選んできてくれるか。
Understood. Villa Rome. You quickly draw up a list of disciples as soon as you get back to your room, finding it an easy task. Chengshuo Mountain is home to a small sect, and most of the disciples here are orphans abandoned by poor families nearby. There aren't many disciples who are truly talented cultivators and have the ability to defeat demons. You finish up the list and are about to get up and turn it over to your master when you hear a knock at the door.
姉弟子、入ってもいいですか？
It's a familiar voice that calls on you day after day, making you smile every time you hear it. Come in. The door opens with a creak, and Marius looks at you with a faint smile. You and your master had picked him up in Xinjiang town after the battle between Lord Zhongwan and the Demon Emperor, but then he had been severely injured and had lost his memory. Your master even helped choose his name as an act of commemoration and gratitude. Your master said that if Lord Zhongjuan hadn't sealed away the Demon Emperor in time, Xinjiang town and perhaps the entire world would have been thrown into despair. Although you and Marius are about the same age, he is ranked as a junior disciple due to him having entered the sect much later. In the last 300 years, he has gone from someone who lost all of his powers to a well-known leader in the Zhengshua mountainside. And you two...
はあ、誰かいるのかと思ったよ。お姉さん一人だったんだ。知ってたら反国前には来てたのに。
Marius turns around and closes the door as he sees this, walking over to the table with startling familiarity. He leans forward slightly, propping his elbows against the desk. He then looks at you with his chin resting in his hands. Do you need something?
ちょっとしたお願いがあってさ。
What is it? When he sees you playing dumb, Marius takes the pen from your hand and makes you face him.
聖戦教に行く師匠に頼まれて同行する弟子を選んでるんでしょ。
What sure travels fast?
序列の低い俺が留守番ってのはわかるけど、今回に限ってはどうしても行かなきゃだから一緒に名簿に入れてくれない？
You had already put Marius on the list, but after hearing what he has to say, you can't help growing curious. Why do you have to go? Tell me. Marius doesn't seem to notice what you're trying to do, precisely explaining it to you.
理由は3つ。まず、連盟の会議にかかる費用は自己負担だから参加するにはそこそこのお金がかかる。でも小作山は貧しいでしょ。道中で資金が足りなくなるかもしれないから5分をかける俺が同行して旅費を稼ごうと思って。
Drawing talismans is a basic skill in any site, but Zhengshua Mountain mainly focuses on swordsmanship. This means most disciples aren't very good at drawing talismans. However, Marius taught himself to draw them. Not only are his talismans beautiful, but they are also very effective, giving him some notoriety. That makes sense. How about the second reason?
2つ目は、大事な会議に護衛を連れないわけにはいかないからね。確かに入門は遅かったけど、ここ何年もヒブで一番の俺なら文句ないでしょ。
Alright, that's not a bad reason either. How about the last one?
最後は、
He casually leans against the back of your chair, stroking the hair next to your ear with his cool fingertips.
誰にも言わないって約束できる？
Okay, just spit it out.
お姉さんと離れるのが嫌だからだよ。
You're ridiculous, you know that? You push Marius away and walk over to the window, your face flush. Fortunately, no one is passing by at the moment.
別にふざけてなんかないよ。俺の気持ちは前から変わらず。
As he just keeps going, you quickly reach out to cover his mouth. Enough! I was planning on bringing you from the beginning.
なら、さっきのは俺をからかっただけってこと？
He takes your hand in his, leaning forward. A faint fragrance lingers in the surrounding air. Didn't you already get payback?
でもさっきのは全部本当のことだよ。特に3つ目は、お姉さんがいいって言ってくれるまで諦めるつもりはないから。
Unlike before, when he would just change the subject, Marius seems to be utterly serious this time. Your cheeks start to grow hot once again. You don't know when you started to have feelings for him, feelings that go beyond what a relationship between a senior and junior disciple should be. Perhaps him honestly expressing his feelings time after time gradually helped you recognize your own. Or maybe it happened even earlier, when you first saw him amidst that devastated land. Perhaps it planted the seed of care within you. Do you remember the first time we met in Jinshan town?
うん。 あの時は怪我をして記憶もなくて、自分が誰なのかもわからないまま、お姉さんたちに拾われた。
The war had just ended, and everything was in chaos. I wasn't able to look into what happened to you in detail. If you visit Qingshan town again this time, we might be able to find some clues about your past. Marius gives you an indifferent smile.
300年も経ってるんだし、今さら昔の身分なんて興味ないよ。
His lips slightly curl upwards as he says this, and he laughs softly into your neck.
俺は弟弟子として、お姉さんに一生ついていきたいだけだから。
Alright, I'm going to give Master the list. You should go back and get your luggage together. We're leaving tomorrow morning.
承知しました、姉弟子。
After traveling day and night, you finally arrive in Qingshan town after 2 weeks. While your master and the other disciples stay at the inn to rest, you and Marius head into town to ask about his situation. Qingshan town. The once prosperous market is now completely deserted due to the recent appearance of monsters. A foreboding air hangs around Qingshan town.
聖戦教中に妖気が満ちていますね。これでは万葉王の封印も破られかねません。
The Demon Emperor is about to break his seal. You spot 2 disciples dressed in sect-specific attire nearby. It seems like they are looking for information on the street.
ちょっと、そんな不吉なこと言わないでよ。今は300年前とは違って、10円神君のように光竜の海符を作ったり、万葉王を倒せる人なんていないんだから。もし万が一封印が破られでもしたら、ここはもう。
Upon hearing this response, the other disciple pulls a skull, rolls up his sleeves, and stands on the nearby steps.
お言葉ですが姉弟子、俺たちが何も言わなければ、それで万葉王が復活をやめるんですか？それに300年前だって、10円神君が力に溺れて、一人で戦い始めたせいでこんな事態になってるんですよ。予定通りに戦ってたら専門連盟の増援も間に合って万葉王を完全に封印できたかもしれないのに。
300 years ago, the Immortal Alliance made an agreement with Lord Zhongyuan to declare war on the Demon Emperor on July 15th. However, Lord Zhongyuan made his move 6 days earlier for an unknown reason. By the time everyone arrived, the battle was over. The Demon Emperor was sealed in Ji Forest by the Dragon Sea Talisman, and Lord Zhongyuan's body was never found. However, rumors began spreading amongst the sects. They said Lord Zhongyuan struck early because he wanted to be known as a savior, but he hadn't expected himself to be perished in the battle.
とにかく、今はまだ不明なことも多いんだから、変な憶測は口にしないこと。こんなの誰かに聞かれたら笑われるわよ。
心配しすぎですよ。それにほら、町がこんな状況なのに、一体誰に聞かれるって言うんです？
Marius, who has always minded his own business, surprisingly clenches his fist when he hears their conversation. Is Marius angry on Lord Zhongyuan's behalf? You watch toward the 2 people having a conversation, taking your sword in both hands and offering a greeting. I apologize, fellow disciple, but I happened to overhear you claiming that Lord Zhongyuan was arrogant. I would have to disagree.
本当に聞かれてたのか。それで、違うっていうのはどうしてです？何か根拠でもあるんですか？
No one saw exactly what happened that day with their own eyes, so I won't be making any baseless speculations. However, there is one thing about him that will never change.
なんです？
Lord Zhongwan sacrificed himself for the people. His remains have never been found. Ask yourself this: how many people would be willing to go that far due to arrogance and reputation?
それは
He is left speechless for a moment before his fellow disciple pulls him down from the steps. They then bow to you, holding their swords in both
失礼な
hands.
発言をどうかお許しください。10円真空への不敬、後ほど厳しく注意しておきます。
It's okay. I was only expressing my opinion. I hope it did not offend you.
そんな。では、我々はこれで。
Until we meet again. After they walk away, you turn to see Marius looking at you with a complicated look on his face. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?
お姉さんって案外10円神君に肩入れしてるんだね。
I was just telling the truth. Even though I never met him, Master said Lord Zhongwan would be around our age. The sacrifice he made for the world at such a young age will be remembered by future generations forever. He shouldn't have to endure even more after his death.
でも自分勝手だとは思わないの？
I don't know. I never knew him after all. Everything we knew about him is anecdotal. But he was definitely talented. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to create the unrivaled Dragon Sea talisman. Marius' slight disappointment from earlier vanishes, and he leans in closer with a smile.
お姉さん、もうそのくらいでいいよ。俺が嫉妬しちゃうからさ。
Keep some space between us in public.
ここには誰もいないよ。
He takes your hand. His palm is so warm that you can't bear letting go, so you allow him to continue holding in his. Let's focus on the matter at hand.
手をつないだままでも情報は集められるでしょ？っていうか、もう大体状況は分かってきてるじゃん。
However, as soon as Marius sees this, the wind picks up. A horde of low-level monsters appears out of nowhere.
ああ、余計なことを言うんじゃなかった。
You and Marius immediately draw your swords to face off against the monsters. Fortunately, they are not very strong and you are able to finish them off in no time. Even so, you spot noxious miasma seeping out from above G Forest in the distance. The forbidden area inside the woodland was where Lord Zhongwan was sealed away the Demon Emperor. That miasma above G Forest, do you think the Demon Emperor is really about to break through the seal?
多分、それだけじゃない。
Marius looks toward G Forest with a solemn expression. What do you mean?
収束の森には万葉王の封印の他に、人間界と妖魔界を隔てる結界があるんだ。
The barrier between the human and demon realms?
もし万葉王が封印を破ったら、その結界にも亀裂が生じ、ものすごい数の妖魔が人間界に入ることになる。そうなったら最後、500年前の惨状が繰り返されるどころか、人間界は完全に万葉王の支配下になるだろうね。
Marius calmly describes this horrifying possibility that could become a reality. There is a trace of sadness mixed with the sympathy in his eyes. It's almost as if the person standing in front of you right now isn't your junior disciple. He seems like another person, someone familiar with the Demon Emperor and someone who empathizes with everyone in the world. However, the current dire circumstances don't give you much time to ponder about it. You push these thoughts aside and grab Marius by the wrist to bring him back to reality.
どうした？
This isn't the time to think about that. Our top priority should be to head back to the inn and discuss our next steps with Master. Inn. You and Marius rush back to the inn. Your master and the other senior disciples have already formed a magic circle near the inn to prevent monsters from getting close. Looks like the monsters who attacked you two just now didn't spare this place either. Your master is clearly relieved to see you and Marius return.
怪我はないか？
Don't worry, master. The monsters that attacked us were all really weak. It was nothing.
それならよかった。
それで師匠、状況はどうですか？
Your master shakes his head. He glances over at G-Forest shrouded in miasma in the distance and lets out a long sigh.
よくはないな。おそらくだが、今しがたの異変には万葉王が絡んでいるのだろ
う。Looks like the disciple you ran into earlier was right. It's just a shame Lord Jong-won has already passed away. Back then, the sects were only able to fight the Demon Emperor because he was there. But now, what can they do? So, what should we do now?
私は専門連盟の名手、蓬莱新人の召集に応じ、収束の森へ向かうつもりだ。
では師匠、俺も同行させてください。
Marius, brows furrowed and silent this whole time, suddenly appeals solemnly to his master. His master doesn't appear very surprised. Instead, he looks at Marius with a tinge of sadness.
これはただの修行ではない。もし行けば最後、どうなるかわからないのだぞ。
Marius pauses briefly when he hears this. His gaze gently passes over you as he reveals an apologetic smile. He then turns back to the master, his smile still sad.
もちろん分かっています。
Marius. Faced with Marius' determination, his master hesitates for a long while before finally sighing in resignation.
いいだろう。
They sound as if they are speaking in riddles. As you try to interpret them, a sense of foreboding rises in your heart. Master, I'm willing to join you as well.
姉弟子。
Hearing you speak up too, the other junior disciples also volunteer to come with the party, one after another, especially Zhao Shan and Vincent, who are both very close with Marius. He looks at you all with a complicated expression, but doesn't immediately turn you down.
お前たちは皆300年前の戦いを知らぬ。どれだけ危険なのか分かっておらんのだ。
師匠、兄弟子も経験してはいませんが、許可されております。
その通りです。いくら弟弟子がすごいからって、彼だけを連れて行くなんて。
As soon as they see this, all the other junior disciples pipe up. He can only helplessly shake his head. However, he does seem a little relieved.
まったく。怖いもの知らずとはこのことだな。いいか、無茶だけはするんじゃないぞ。
師匠、ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。絶対に足手まといにはなりませんから。
Z-Forest. Numerous disciples gather near Z-Forest. As you expected, the area is shrouded in the same miasma you spotted from the distance. Animal bones are scattered around the edges of the forest. It's as if the miasma itself had eaten away at those creatures. Master Peng Lai, the leader of the Immortal Alliance, asks that all disciples whose cultivation has not exceeded the foundational stage wait outside Z Forest. Only you and Marius follow your master into Chengshua Mountain, but as you continue traveling deeper, you start to feel uneasy.
お姉さん、大丈夫？
Yeah, I'm okay. Marius can seemingly tell that you're putting on a brave face. He holds your hand, transferring his pure energy into your body. Don't. I'm okay. Really.
前に山門で編み出した呼吸法のこと、まだ覚えてる？
Okay. Following Mary's suggestion, you begin to regulate your breathing. With that, you really do feel more refreshed. You can even see the objects in front of you more clearly now, as if they are completely unaffected by the miasma. You look at Marius as he walks in front of you to defend against monsters. He seems to be very familiar with the Z forest, moving through the miasma without needing to discern his location. You can't help recalling the cryptic conversation between him and the master back at the inn. Marius, what's going on? Your doubt continues to grow. You can't shake the feeling that there may be an inextricable connection between Marius and the Demon Emperor, but it isn't time to think about that now. You need to head into Z Forest right away and figure out what's happening.
ちょっとは良くなった？
Perhaps sensing your gaze on him, Marius turns back to look at you, his eyes full of concern. I'm alright now.
ならよかった。師匠たちはもう先に進んでるから、俺たちも急ごう。
Okay. Z Forest Forbidden Zone. Now that you aren't slowed down by the miasma, you and Marius pick up the pace. Soon you catch up with everyone else in the forbidden area of the Z Forest. You spot a faint trace of a talisman magic circle on the ground. There is a slight fissure in the middle. The haze of miasma smothering Z Forest constantly seeps out from the fissure. The senior disciples of the various sects look at it grimly. What's that crack in the ground? Master Peng Lai strokes his beard, stepping forward. Placing his fingers together, he chants a spell to gently expel the surrounding miasma to reveal the talisman magic circle in its entirety. The monsters that didn't have enough time to flee instantly disintegrate. Now, you realize that the large number of monsters from before had also emerged from this fissure. No wonder it seemed like there was no end to them.
森には人間界との結界があり、それが破られれば、妖魔たちが人間界に災いを及ぼすことになる。したがって、ほころびを見つけた者は、結界の修復に努めよ。
Marius also mentioned that the waves of monsters could have something to do with the barrier between the human and demon worlds.
まさかかつての10円神君も結界のほころびに気づいて妖魔を食い止めるために戦闘を早めたんじゃ。
でもこんなに月日が経っているというのに、どうして誰も収束の森にある結界に気づかなかったんです？
当時万葉王は収束の森に立てこもっていたはず。となれば奥に入った10円神君以外に気づける者はいないわ。でも残念なことに彼はもういないし、当時の状況を聞くこともできない。
While everyone is sharing their opinions, Marius walks over to the seal and squats down to check on it. When the miasma following out of the fissure comes into contact with his hand, it disperses, almost as if it had sensed some sort of danger.
こんなに早いとはな。
What did you say? Marius is briefly stunned before he stands up and shakes his head.
なんでもないよ。封印のことを少し調べていたんだ。もうしばらく万葉王は封印しておけそうだから、まずは結界の修復が先かな。
なかなか鋭いな。その通り、今は結界の修復が先だ。これ以上遅れてはならん。
He looks at everyone as he speaks, asking the most senior disciples with a profound understanding of cultivation to stay behind. Disciples like you and Marius are asked to guard the outer perimeter. The circumstances are urgent. After hastily making arrangements, the master and the senior disciples fall silent as they begin to cast spells to repair the barrier. However, the miasma doesn't disperse. In fact, it grows thicker and heavier. You get the vague sense that even the more senior disciples are unable to hold it off. This is especially true for your master. He was seriously injured after trying to save someone years ago. Now that the miasma has invaded his body, you fear. Master! Full of anxiety, you move your hand to your sword. They have reached the most critical moment in the process of repairing the barrier. The fissure is gradually shrinking, but due to this, your fight against the monster is growing ever more intense. Seemingly in an instant, countless monsters emerge from the fissure in the seal. The disciples guarding the outer perimeter draw their swords at once, stepping forward to provide support. As you all continue slaying monsters, the thick black haze has already completely engulfed your master and the others. Worried for his safety, you move to rush in.
お姉さん、危ない！
Marius strikes down a monster charging this way, grabbing onto your wrist. I know it's dangerous, but I don't even know if Master is alive or dead. How can I just stand here and watch?
わかった。なら俺が師匠たちの方に回るから、お姉さんは小作山のみんなをお願い。
Now you are the one holding Marius back.
何を？
That's right, I'm your senior, so this should be my job.
けど。
Before Marius can finish speaking, you walk right into the forbidden area with your sword drawn. Fortunately, your breathing method prevents the haze of miasma from affecting you too much. Only now do you realize that the fissure has shrunk considerably, but the miasma is still seeping out, even more so than before. The barrier is almost completely repaired. Why is there still so much miasma leaking out? Is the barrier not the source of the miasma, or is it not just the barrier? You look at the now dark purple seal. Suddenly the haze of miasma condenses into a phantom before your eyes, and your world transforms in an instant. The overwhelming miasma surges toward your master and the other senior disciples who are still attempting to repair the barrier. You move forward, sword drawn, just in the nick of time. You are able to block the onslaught by using a stance you and Marius developed together. The hoarse voice sounds as if it originated from a deep place, piercing through the haze straight into your head. Lord Zhongyuan, isn't he already?
いや、違うな。何者だ。なぜあやつと同じ技を使っている。
What? Before you have time to process his words, an overwhelming force wraps itself around you. It feels as if all the strength in your body is being sapped away, and it becomes harder and harder to breathe. Just as you think you are about to suffocate, a sudden flash of golden light appears, and a familiar figure flashes in front of you. You escape your restraints with a hacking cough, finally able to draw breath.
あれは光竜の海部。
The Dragon Sea Talisman doesn't require a physical conduit to be cast. It can transform into a talisman from energy, cleansing from the world of all monsters. It requires incredible amounts of magic from the caster, meaning Lord Zhongwan was the only one capable of casting it 300 years ago. You look up into the sky. Amidst the all-encompassing haze, only the talisman in Marius' hand emits the golden light that cuts through the darkness. For some reason, you suddenly think about how breathtaking it must have been when Lord Zhongwan fought the Demon Emperor all by himself. The countless questions you had puzzled over finally became clear now. Marius is Lord Zhongwan. Thanks to Marius, the once dire situation has been resolved. Everyone seems to think they've been safe. However, you know his condition better than anyone. The serious injuries he suffered 300 years ago took a massive toll on his powers, and he still hasn't fully recovered. The Demon Emperor's phantom isn't any to sniff at either. After the attack earlier, Marius is pushing himself. Marius! You look at his furrowed brow, his pinned face, and the blood trickling out of the corner of his mouth. In an instant, multiple thoughts run through your mind, but none of them can help him. Seeing as your master and the others are taking advantage of the weakening miasma to repair the barrier, they are also powerless to help. What should I do? How can I help you? Just as you are growing distraught, the Demon Emperor's voice sounds from the thick miasma.
たかが300年程度で随分と法力が落ちたものだが、自慢の海部もこの程度しか力を出せないとは。
The last one. You stare at Marius with a worried gaze as he swallows the blood pooling in his mouth. There is a trace of ridicule in his crooked smile.
そうか。実体のない万葉王を相手に全力なんていらないだろう。
愛も変わらず憎たらしいやつだ。
The miasma gathers around Marius' legs, winding around them. It won't be long before he is completely engulfed. However, Marius is unfazed. The smile on his face only grows bigger.
お姉さん、悪いけどちょっと手伝ってくれない？
You suddenly hear Marius' voice being projected into your mind. You remember reading in an ancient book that only cultivators who have reached transcendence can project their voice telepathically. I'm listening.
宿地の陣を書いてほしいんだ。師匠たちが結界を修復し終えたら、万葉王は妖魔界とのつながりを失って消失する。でもあいつの性格からしておとなしくそれを待つとは思えないし、多分共倒れになるまで俺と戦うと思う。
So you want to use yourself as a bait to get the Demon Emperor's attention? You want to buy time for Master and the others? Marius looks at you with a smile.
今はそれが一番いい方法だからね。
Hold on a little longer. You ignore your distracting thoughts, quickly drawing a teleportation talisman on the ground. At the same time, your master and the others finish repairing the barrier. Without the demon realm to sustain him, the Demon Emperor is unsurprisingly unable to maintain his form. Marius takes this chance to draw another talisman to trap him. But he doesn't want to dissipate, and the miasma instantly crashes into Marius like a surging tide. You look down at the teleportation talisman on the ground. Marius still hasn't appeared, but the haze that should have vanished with the Demon Emperor's phantom is still present. Marius, hurry up! Time seemingly comes to a standstill. As soon as terrifying thoughts enter your mind, they quickly diverge. When you consider the possibility of losing Marius, your heart ache. Marius, didn't you say you can't stand being away from me? Now, why are you... You can't help mumbling this question to yourself as tears suddenly begin to pour down your face. Just when you have lost all hope, a familiar voice sounds behind you.
お姉さん、怪我はない？
Marius is leaning weakly against a tree. You quickly run over to support him, and he falls against your shoulder, completely exhausted. A strong odor of blood wafts from his body, serving as a reminder of the intense battle that just took place. You lightly press your fingertips to his wrist. His strength is dissipating, but he speaks in your ear as if he doesn't even notice.
さっきはうっかり万葉王に捕まっちゃってさ。心配かけてごめんね。
Don't talk now. Keep your pulse going.
お姉さん、泣いてるの？
No, the miasma just got in my eyes. It still isn't safe here. Let's head back to the inn for now.
そうだね。
You all make a quick retreat. Even though the Demon Emperor's phantom disappeared, the haze of miasma grows even thicker, gradually spreading from Ji Forest over the Qingshan town. The vulnerable seal will break again soon if it isn't reinforced, leading to a repeat of the tragedy 3,000 years ago. Inn. You help Marius back to the inn. He is leaning in the edge of the bed, clearly feeling weak. Even so, a smile still remains on his face. It was as if he hadn't fought in a violent battle just now, and it was merely a normal spar between cultivators. Give me your hand. Seeing his laid-back expression, you can't help the increased sharpness in your tone. Marius is surprised for a moment before obediently reaching out and letting you check his pulse.
心配しないで、お姉さん。前にもっとひどい傷を負ったことがあるけど、その時も平気だったから。なんてことないよ。
Didn't I tell you not to talk for now?
わかったよ。
Marius pursed his lips and stops talking. However, he looks at you as if he's been wrong. His pulse is weak. His old injuries from 3 centuries ago haven't even healed yet, and he just overexerted himself by using the Dragon Sea Talisman. If he isn't treated in time, his spiritual core may be destroyed. As things stand, you are the only one who can use your cultivation to heal his injuries. Take off your robes. I'll heal your wounds. You reach out to untie Marius' robes, but he catches your hand and shakes his head.
大丈夫。呼吸法でどうにかなると思うから。そんなことをしたらお姉さんの努力が、私有意が減るだろう。
I'll just go cultivate more if I use it all up. Let's go. You stare at Marius with frightened eyes. He struggles for a moment before giving up and lowering his hand. With your help, Marius' originally disrupted aura finally stabilized. His face is no longer as pale as it was before. Feeling reassured, you slowly pull away. Only then do you remember everything that just happened. The countless thoughts flood into you in an instant. There are so many things you want to ask him. However, you feel like they aren't as important as making sure that he is safe, so you choose to forego it for the time being.
お姉さん。
Upon seeing you silent, Marius gently tugs at the hem of your clothes. He is acting as if he is guilty after doing something wrong. But this time, what happened is too serious. You pull the hem of your clothes away from him with a cold expression, completely unfazed as you stare at him. Why did you push yourself to use the Dragon Sea Talisman? You and I both know that your powers have yet to fully recover. What if you get hurt after using it so recklessly and you lose it again?
心配ないよ。前に受けた傷の方がよっぽどひどかったし、あの時は運よく生き残って、今も。
That was before we met. It doesn't matter how you lived 300 years ago. Now you swallow the words you are about to say. As you look into Mary's eyes, you can't help softening your tone. Do you still remember what I told you when you first joined the set? When you were training nonstop even though you just lost your memories? Your powers just because you didn't want to be left behind?
あお姉さん、入るなら先に知らせてよ。
I did. You were too focused on cultivating to notice junior disciple Marius. Here, hold out your hand. Marius simply stares at you with no intention of giving you his hand. You have no choice but to pull him over. As you expected, he is all bruised up. You pull out an ointment to promote circulation and apply it to his skin. Does it hurt?
痛くないよ。
Liar, your hands are all bruised up. If it was junior disciple Xiao Shan or Vincent doing this, you'll be groaning in pain.
いや、それは。
You focus your energy as you rub the ointment in, sighing as you do so. Junior disciple Marius, you need to tell someone when you're in pain or tired from now on. It's not a big deal to tell someone about it. It's okay if you can't compete with the senior disciples right now. You just temporarily lost your powers. You'll be fine. After you recover, don't push yourself.
それで、本当にいいのかな。
Why wouldn't you be able to?
わからない。ただ、今までそんな風に言われたことがないから。
You lost your memories. Just let the past go. Enjoy being Marius now. Marius begins laughing at what you said. His deep irises are reflected in the candlelight as he looks at you. His gaze full of vitality.
その通りだね。なら、もし次に痛みを感じたら、お姉さんに言ってもいい？
Of course, you can also tell the other senior disciples about it.
いや、お姉さんにしか言わないよ。
There seems to be a faint sense of anticipation in his certain tone, and your hand pauses for a moment as you rub in the ointment. You can feel a strange emotion seemingly spreading between you two. You shove the tin of the ointment at Marius to cover up the beating of your heart. Here, take the ointment. Remember to apply it again tomorrow morning. I'm heading out. Considering everything that happened, those feelings you once calmed suddenly make a comeback. You and Marius have been together for so long that you never even considered being apart. Due to this, you were never in a hurry to express your feelings. You wanted to wait until everything was absolutely settled before reporting to the master with him. But the image of Marius fighting the demon emperor's phantom flashes through your mind. If he hadn't come back then, would you have? Marius reaches out, but his hand drops to his side before he touches your shoulder. He then carefully apologizes.
ごめん。もう危険なことはしないから、どうか許してほしい。
His familiar aura surrounds you as he stands in front of you, soothing your agitated mind. In fact, you start to feel embarrassed after calming down. You put on a brave face and take your role as senior disciple seriously. You better not do it again.
わかったよ。あと、正体を隠してたことについてだけど、そっちも怒ってる？
Why should I be? Compared to that identity, isn't the one I've gotten to know over the past 300 years more real? And even though I never thought about you being Lord Zhongyuan, it's not like I didn't notice a single thing. Your mind is brought back to the past before you know it, to a memory around 200 years ago. You didn't expect breaking through the foundation stage to be much more difficult than breaking through the energy regulation stage. You feel as if countless needles are cutting through your flesh, the dense pain piercing your bones. Just as you are about to lose consciousness, a warm aura spreads from your shoulder throughout your body, relieving the pain. Who's there? You slowly open your eyes, trying to see who it is.
動かないで。集中して。
What a familiar voice. Perhaps it's due to the fact that you are still recovering from the unbearable pain, but you don't immediately recognize the other person from his voice alone. But his aura is extremely familiar to you, so you realize and slowly enter a divine state of consciousness. You suddenly feel the person next to you stand up and move to sit facing you.
もう大丈夫そうだね。
But that reassuring aura doesn't leave you. It continues to linger as if it is protecting you.
お姉さん、心配しないで。俺がそばにいるから。まさかバレてるとは思わなかったよ。気づかれないよう、わざわざ師匠の服まで着ていったのに。
What was the point in changing clothes? Your aura exposed you from the beginning.
なるほどね。長い間ずっと一緒にいたせいで、見なくても気配でわかるのか。でもそれじゃあ、あの時なんで俺に聞かなかったの？
Marius looks at you, his eyes dancing with brilliant light like fireflies on a summer night. His sparkling eyes are absolutely dazzling. Met people who have lost their memories before, it will only hurt them if you force them to think about the past. Besides, it's just like I said, your old identity isn't important. No matter what happens, you're still my junior. Upon hearing this, Marius moves in closer to your face. Your foreheads are nearly pressed together.
お姉さんにとっての俺は、ただの弟弟子なの？
You can only be my junior disciple for now. You step away from him as your cheeks inexplicably begin to flush. If things keep going, it might delay your important business. With that, you quickly change the subject. Focus on regulating your breathing, okay? Masara and the seniors from the Immortal Alliance were badly hurt trying to repair the barrier. The danger caused by the Demon Emperor has not completely passed yet. Now that the haze of miasma is spreading, I'm afraid a fierce battle is inevitable. The crisis you are facing wipes away all ambiguity between you and Marius.
確かにそうだね。さっきの戦いで万葉王との差が思ったより大きいことも分かったし。
A knock on the door interrupts your conversation.
姉弟子、泉さんいらっしゃいますか？
In. As you open the door, Zhaoshan rushes in, panic. She pats her chest and breathes a relief sigh when she sees that you are both fine.
泉さん、体の方は大丈夫？
大丈夫です。ありがとうございます、姉弟子。
それならよかった。あの場にはいなかったけど、他の相弟子から聞いたんだ。君はやっぱり大物だったんだね。とてもそうは見えないけど。
そんな大層なもんじゃないですよ。なんたって俺の最大の夢は
姉弟子のお婿さんになることでしょ。そんなのふもとに住むおばあさんが飼ってるガチョウですら知ってるよ。
As the topic of conversation begins to wander, you quickly speak up to interrupt Zhaoshan. Zhaoshan, did something important happen?
あ、そうでした。専門連盟の先輩たちが集まって泉さんのためにたくさんの霊薬を持ってきてくれたんです。こっそり覗いてみましたが、小作山ではまず手に入らないような珍しい薬ばかりでしたよ。
Elixirs? Gifting these elixirs might just be a guise, even though very few people have seen Lord Yonguan's real face. Marius just used an incomplete Dragon Seed talisman. They would naturally have theories about his identity. Now that the Demon Emperor has reappeared, the best option is to have Lord Yongyuan strengthen the seal once again. Several seniors from various sides are present this time, but most were hurt by the miasma while trying to repair the barrier. That means they likely won't be able to provide support for some time. Even so, you are fully aware that Marius is no longer Lord Yongyuan from 300 years ago. He might not be able to use the Dragon Seed talisman again. What did Master see?
師匠は先輩たちにこう言いました。
Xiaoshan clears her throat as she walks around the room, imitating your master.
ごほん。今、泉慶は小作山の弟子であり、泉一族の十円神君ではない。何かあれば私に言うように。
へえ、かなり似てますね。
でしょ？師匠の真似で私の右に出る者なんていないんだから。
Yep, that's right. But if you could refine your skills just a bit more, then you'd be even more like Master.
姉弟子はひどいです。いくら二人が砲術の素質に秀でてるからって弟弟子の前なんですよ。
Xiaoshan shakes your arm back and forth. You sigh in resignation and turn to look at Marius. Want to take a look?
姉弟子がついてきてくれるなら行きます。
You squeeze his hand and nod. Of course.
それじゃ行きましょう。どうせいつかは捕まるでしょうし。
Soon after you leave the room, you spot a group of disciples standing in the courtyard. Their lively conversation goes silent the moment they see Marius appear. All the junior disciples look toward you two with curiosity. Some of the more senior disciples come up to greet you both, and Marius responds in return.
皆さん、まずは謝罪を。今から300年前、勝手に戦いを始めてしまったこと、誠に申し訳ございません。ただ、万葉王との戦いの中で必要に迫られて行ったことであり、決して功績や手柄のためではないと明言いたします。
In a few words, Marius dispels the understanding from centuries ago. After the barrier was repaired, everyone had already guessed what truly happened.
十円神君、謝罪などしなくていい。あの時のことは全て誤解だったと判明している。
であればよかったです。ただ、はっきりさせたいことがあります。
なんだ？
私が十円神君であったのは過去のことで、今の私は小作山に属するただの門下生です。
十円神君であれ、小作山の門下生であれ、専門に入ったからには万葉王に対抗せねばならぬ。
There is an implicit sharpness in Master Penglai's words. For hundreds of years, you have grown accustomed to standing up for your junior disciples, and now is no exception. When there is no response, you move to stand in front of Marius. You must be joking, Senior. We are fully aware of our obligation to fight. However, my junior disciples' powers have been impaired. I'm afraid we will need to come up with a long-term plan to defeat the Demon Emperor. Marius stands behind you, enjoying your protection to the fullest.
姉弟子の言う通りです。現在の法力では間違いなく万葉王の相手にはなりません。
確かに以前までとは違うようだ。昔の君ならそのような弱音など吐いてはいないだろう。
当時はまだ 痛い時や辛い時に誰かを頼れと、そう教えてくれる人がいなかったので。あと、結果なんて気にしなくていいと、それ以降、強がることをやめたんです。
He glances at you as he speaks, directing the conversation back to the initial topic.
だから今回、万葉王に対抗するには、専門連盟が一丸となって力を合わせなくてはなりません。
これは人間界の平穏がかかった大事な戦いです。もちろん我々も責任から逃れるつもりはありません。ただ現状、先輩たちは結界の修復で力を消耗していて、万葉王と戦うのは難しい状況です。
それに今は瘴気が広範囲に広がっていて、筑危機以下の弟子たちは宿から出ることもできません。万葉王を抑える方法があるとすれば、それは泉さんの交流の回復しかないかと。
They aren't exaggerating. Now that the miasma has spread throughout the entirety of Jingyan town, all the civilians have been evacuated. The inn you are all staying at hasn't been affected thanks to the magic circle, but as the miasma continues to grow even thicker, the same cannot be said for much longer. Even so, they are overestimating Marius in his current state. You are about to speak up for him again, but he unexpectedly beats you to the punch.
ですが、今の私の法力ではあと一度がやっとでしょう。
As soon as he says these words, the hall falls silence. The Demon Emperor is about to break through the seal, and you only have one chance. That means Marius can't use the Dragon Sea Talisman at all before confronting the Demon Emperor. Other than the Demon Emperor, there are still countless monsters following him, not to mention the miasma still spreading through G Forest. The closer Marius gets to the forbidden area, the harder it will be for him to handle it all alone. But everyone except you was hurt by the miasma while repairing their barrier. Under the current circumstances, they most likely won't be able to get close to the forbidden area. So right now, you are the only person who can venture deep into the forbidden area and help Marius. Master, I have an idea. You and the other seniors can take care of the monsters in G Forest. I'll go deeper into the forbidden area with Junior's disciple Marius. Unlike his previous hesitation, your master instantly rejects your suggestions.
確かにお前は強い。だが森の奥は前日とは比にならぬ瘴気が漂っておる。私たちに任せておきなさい。
Master? Your master's power was severely sapped when repairing the barrier. If he forces himself into the forbidden area now, he might not make it back. Master, don't worry. Junior disciple Marius taught me a special breathing technique a long time ago at Chengshua Mountain. The miasma has no effect on me. And Junior disciple Marius and I have been inseparable over the past 300 years. It's hard for us to be apart. I hope you will let me go, Master.
姉弟子。
Greeting your sis, you finally voice it out. Thankfully enough, your master reads between the lines. His eyes dart back and forth between you and Marius for a moment before he sighs.
わかった。好きにするといい。危険極まりない策だが、犠牲を最小限に抑えるにはこれしかない。
With that, the plan is set. You and Marius will go deep into the Z Forest Forbidden Area to strike the seal on the Demon Emperor. Your master and the other disciples from the Immortal Alliance will handle the monsters in the forest and prevent them from getting too close to interfere with you and Marius.
よし、異論がなければ決行の日時を決めよ
う。以前から空を観察してきたが、7日後は300年に一度の珍しいものが見られるはずだ。 その日は白い虹が太陽を貫き、正気の力を弱めてくれる。つまり、我々にとっての好機となるだろ
わかりました。では7日後にしましょう。その時までには私の法力も大方回復しているはずです。
ああ、なるべく早く決着をつけよう。
Jinshan Town. The day after this discussion, your master accompanies Master Penglai to speak with you and Marius. He teaches you the healing method he personally developed. Paired with the gifted Elixers from before, you and Marius have already recovered. Over the past few days, you two have resumed your daily Chengshua mountain lessons.
お姉さん、こんな危険な目に遭わせて本当にごめん。
Even though Marius didn't say you couldn't follow him deeper into the forbidden area, but then he is still extremely worried about you. You look at him and sigh in resignation. Well, I'm your senior disciple after all. I need to be dependable.
確かに頼もしいね。
Marius sheathes his sword and walks toward you. His face flushed as if he recalls something.
ところでお姉さん、この前師匠に言ってたことって。
But then, you hastily blurt out your feelings for one another so your master would allow you and Marius to venture into the forbidden area of the G forest together. It was never something that had to be hidden in the first place, but now isn't the time to discuss romance. Let's not talk about it right now.
うん、わかった。お姉さんがなかったことにしないなら、俺はそれで。
When have I ever taken anything back? Nishan Town. The night before the battle, after finishing your last daily lesson, Marius transfers a talisman into your body. You all feel an instant warmth enveloping your body as if something is protecting your very soul. What is this?
俺が書いた御神符だよ。戦いが始まったら、お姉さんの方まで手が回らないかもしれないから、これに守ってもらおうと思って。
He takes your hand as he says this, casually tracing a talisman on your palm.
泉家は昔から護符を書くことを生にしてきた一族で、人々はそれをお守りとして身につけてきたんだ。中でも効果の高い護符は、貴族や高官たちがこぞって買ってたから、泉家は人間界での商売でかなり繁盛してたらしいよ。
That's why your clan had long history of cultivators. Marius reveals a lonely smile.
実は家族のことはあんまり覚えてないんだ。500年前に万葉王が人間界に災いをもたらした時、一族の人間は次々に犠牲になって、俺が生まれた時にはもうほとんど残ってなかった。
Marius. You can't help thinking about his clan. They were almost completely wiped out 300 years ago, and even then, the remaining descendants who made it all alive are no longer focused on cultivation. Marius has always been on his own. You want to comfort him, but you don't even know where to begin. Suddenly, you remember why you brought him to Jinshan Town in the first place. I actually brought you to Jinshan Town to look for clues about your lineage for a reason.
やりたいこと？
Looking into his clear gaze full of curiosity, you find yourself at a loss for words. Not knowing what to say to him, you can only break eye contact. You know, even if two people have feelings for each other, they still need approval and blessings from their elders for some things.
年長者の承認と祝福。それって。
I'm an orphan, so Master is my guardian. As long as he approves of us, I'm sad. But you... Marius holds your hand, gently shaking his head.
300年前、俺は親族を全員失った。だから今はお姉さんと師匠、それから小作山の全員が俺の家族だ。もし承認と祝福が必要なら、俺のも彼らにお願いすればいいと思う。
Okay, let's go talk to Master together after all of this is over. Not like before, though. We should respectfully ask for his support this time.
わかった。お姉さんの言う通りにするよ。
Marius embraces you tightly as he says this. You can let go now.
ごめん。けど、もう少しこうさせて。
After some time, Marius reluctantly lets you go. His warm breath lingers next to your ear like warm spring rain drizzling on your heart.
正直な話、お姉さんが俺の気持ちに応えてくれるまで、あと数百年はかかるんだろうなって思ってた。
Well, I could always take it back.
もう無理だよ。一度口にした言葉はもう戻ってこないからね。
As a breeze drifts by, a small leaf falls on Marius' hair. You ignore it for a while, but eventually you give in and help him brush it off.
お姉さん、あの時どうして俺に声をかけたの？
Marius stares at you, popping an unexpected question out of the blue. He continues to push the question when you don't immediately answer, stubbornly pressing you for a response.
あの戦いの後、俺みたいなのは他にもたくさんいたはずなのに、どうして俺を助けたの？
Following Marius' question, your mind drifts back to the time when you and your master rushed to Qingshan town. Unfortunately, due to its distance from Chengshua Mountain, Qingshan town is already in shambles by the time you arrive. The war has caused strange anomalies to occur, hence the heavy snow in July. There are people who have lost their homes everywhere. Most of them are also hurt, but thankfully, their friends or families are by their side. Only Marius sits alone among the rubble. He is like a lone eagle flying through an empty sky, silently crying out. You can't help but to approach him. You bend down to reach out to him, but he raises his head as if he doesn't understand. There is a trace of confusion in his gaze. It's cold on the ground. Let me help you up. He stares at you blankly, not responding or taking your hand. It's as if he doesn't understand a word you are saying. Don't be scared. The Demon Emperor has already been sealed away. No monsters are going to hurt you. Tell me where your home is. I'll take you back there.
いいえ。
Do you remember who you are? He thinks hard for a moment, but he soon grips his head in pain. It's okay. You don't have to think about it if you can't remember. You take a small step forward and cross Marius' hand as he starts hitting himself on the head. He looks at you, stunned, with a bewildered look in his eyes. If you have nowhere to go, why don't you come back with me and be my junior disciple? He suddenly reacts to what you said. Tilting his head, he considers your proposal for a bit before smiling. As this faint smile reveals itself on his face, it touches your heart like a spring breeze dancing across a pool of water.
いいよ。こっちはどんなお礼をすればいいの？
You don't need to repay me. Just take your time recovering and do what I see. Marius thinks it over for a moment. Coincidentally, two people pass by. They are discussing how every favor should be repaid to full, no matter the circumstances. Seemingly inspired, Marius looks around only to find nothing nearby. Instead, he looks into your eyes and speaks slowly.
今は何も持ってないから。とりあえず、俺の心身をあげるね。
Pledge yourself to me? I don't know, that's not necessary. Helping others is one of the pleasures of life. It's really nothing much. Your palm gradually begins to grow hot. You try to let go of Marius' hand, but he only holds on tighter.
無理だね。一度言った言葉には責任を持たないと。お姉さん、俺は絶対に約束を守るよ。
With that, Marius follows you and your master back to Zhengshua Mountain, and 3 centuries pass in the blink of an eye. Over the years, you and Marius also slowly develop feelings for each other. I never thought my obedient junior disciple from back then would turn out to be the people's savior, Lord Zhongyuan.
ここにいるのは小作山の泉慶で、純円神君なんてものはもういないよ。
Marius takes your hand, lightly kissing your palm.
過去のことはもういいでしょ。大事なのは今の方なんだから。そういえば昔、うちの一族では結婚の時用にコンフっていう特別な護符を作ってたっけ。
A marriage talisman? What did it look like?
それは夫婦によってそれぞれ異なるけど、見たいなら俺が一つ書いてあげようか。
As he says this, Marius draws a marriage talisman before you can even respond. He then hands it to you with great care. The complicated runes shine with a dim golden light, and 4 words faintly appear in the center.
どう？気に入った？
I love it. What does it say? Love for an eternity? Marius stands behind you with a smile, gently holding your wrist as he leads you to outline the 4 words, one letter at a time. When you run your fingertips over the runes, you feel a soft warmth enveloping your fingertips.
うん。この字には、二人がいつまでも愛し合っていられますようにっていう願いが込められてるんだ。
What a beautiful interpretation. But how does it work?
それはね。
Marius takes the marriage talisman from you. The thin paper talismans hover in mid-air as he softly recites a spell. Marius reaches his palm out. With just the right timing, a fingerprint gradually appears on the talisman.
ここに、新郎新婦が母音を押せば、婚姻の儀式が終わるってわけ。お姉さんもやってみたら。
Marius whispers quietly in your ear, tempting you to make an immediate decision. You can't help reaching out with your right hand. By the time you snap back to your senses, your fingerprints is already on the wedding talisman. The lingering warmth on your fingertips briefly winds around your fingers before gradually dissipating. Something feels different.
お姉さん、見て。
You look at the marriage talisman to see your fingerprint glowing faintly. It seems as if it is validating the oath you and Marius made. You can clearly feel something tightly connecting you two, like you will never truly be apart again. We'll head back as soon as everything is settled.
そうだね。初雪くらいには間に合うかな。
Z Forest. When the day of the solar halo finally arrives, everyone proceeds according to plan. You all head to Z Forest, which is now under the Demon Emperor's control. As you are predicted, the miasma in the forest has grown even more dense. The number of disciples who are actually able to enter G Forest is much lower than you had anticipated. The most they can do is wait for you and Marius outside. When you are finally forced to split off from the others, your master furrows his brow and looks at you and Marius with concern.
すまないが、ここからはもう一緒に行ってはやれないようだ。
Master, you still haven't fully recovered from repairing the barrier. Please be careful out there.
ああ、こんなによくできた弟子たちに最後の重荷を背負わせてしまうとはな。
安心してください。姉弟子のことは絶対に守り抜きますから。
まるで私がお前の姉弟子をひいきしているような言い方だな。
The furrow that had been creasing your master's forehead finally loosens at the joke. He slowly raises his fly wings to brush the fallen leaves of you and Marius, then pats your shoulders. You can tell that he is still worried.
二人とも無事に戻ってくるんだぞ。
You and Marius looks at each other and smile, answering your master in tandem.
はい。
では、行ってこい。
Your master sees you and Marius off, just like he once did when you left to fight demons or went to the small pavilion outside the site. Hopefully, you will both be back right on time, just like before. Z Forest Forbidden Zone. It is that silent as you and Marius travel deeper into the forest. The miasma only gets denser, nearly blocking out the sky and sun overhead. You begin to feel somewhat uneasy, as if there is a terrifying entity watching your every move as you proceed through the endless haze. Strange, why aren't there any monsters here? I mean, remember how the Demon Emperor summoned so many of them before? There was no end to them.
こんな妖術を聞いたことない？
What?
強い妖魔は自らを強化するために自分より下位の妖魔を吸収することがあるって。
Are you saying the Demon Emperor absorbed the power of all the monsters in the forest? Marius doesn't confirm or deny this theory, simply squatting down to look at the bones lying in the withered grass. You begin to wonder, if the Demon Emperor really did absorb that much power, wouldn't he be able to break through the seal any second now? This sense of foreboding grows increasingly apparent, and the solar halo has still not appeared. A sudden gust of wind howls, and the thick miasma begins to take control of the G forest once more. Marius stands up and solemnly looks over at the sealed Demon Emperor. Right now, he doesn't need to see anything. You can already sense it. Something is coming.
万葉王だ。封印が破られた。
Looks like we need to get ready for a fight. Before venturing this deep into the forest, you'd expected the Demon Emperor to appear as a phantom, just like last time. However, you never imagined that he would have absorbed enough power to break right through the seal, meaning he would be much harder to handle than last time.
お姉さん、構えて。
As soon as Marius sees this, a black shadow rushes towards you two. You and Marius quickly dodge out of the way, barely avoiding it. With his still broken and more powerful than ever, the miasma gorilla reveals the Demon Emperor's enormous, grotesque body. His voice is now hoarser than what you heard in the Forbidden Area before. The Demon Emperor glares at Marius with blood-red eyes.
300年前、お前は海部を使って勝利を得たが、それがまた通じるとは思わぬことだな。
As the Demon Emperor finishes speaking, he gently points a finger at you and Marius. Countless icicles shoot toward you two in an instant. Marius flies forward and activates a talisman to fracture the icicles. You then jump in with the fire talisman to melt them into puddles of water. However, the miasma has nearly condensed into a solid darkness, blocking your sight. You and Marius are unable to discern where the other is on the battlefield. You can only judge his position by listening for his movements or his brief conversations with the Demon Emperor.
なぜ海部を使わない？
その必要がないからだ。
そうか。ではこれならどうだ？
Suddenly, blades made of black smoke whistles through the air towards you. In your panic, you are barely able to dodge the first wave. The Demon Emperor seemingly recognizes you as Marius' weakness, realizing that he can use this to force Marius to make a move. You can sense Marius' turbulent emotions when he sees that you are about to be subdued. At this moment, you don't even consider how this is possible. If he gets distracted like this, the Demon Emperor will get his opportunity to strike. Don't do anything reckless, I can manage. You give Marius a silent reminder in your head, hoping that he can also sense it.
わかったよ、お姉さん。
As suspected, Marius can sense you too, but before you can celebrate, the Demon Emperor grows impatient. He isn't interested in you anymore. Instead, he focuses on Marius, who is still unable to use his Dragon Sea Talisman.
弱すぎるな。あと少し力を入れるだけで命がつきそうだ。
300年の間で随分とやかましくなったな。
Sensing that Marius' breathing is growing labored, you look up toward the solar halo, hoping it will quickly dispel the haze of miasma. However, the more anxious you get, the less likely things will turn out how you want. You close your eyes, do your best to calm your mind, and try to come up with a way to help him. Slowly, in addition to sensing Marius' condition and emotions, you can also glimpse everything he is saying. He is not only in physical pain but also mentally. Even so, he has been taking advantage of his weakness to lure the Demon Emperor closer to where the solar halo's light kisses the sun most intensely. What? By the time you realize what's happening, Marius has already used his Dragon Sea Talisman, taking advantage of the moment the solar halo's light pierces the sun and dispels the haze. The Demon Emperor opposite him has also been waiting for this moment. A sphere of dark energy begins accumulating in his palm. The golden radiance of the Dragon Sea Talisman shines with warmth. However, dark energy cuts through the dazzling light, heading straight for Marius. Marius! It is too late for him to escape, and you can't help him in the dense haze engulfing the forest. You suddenly remember the protection talisman he imbued you with. If you two can sense each other, maybe the talisman he used on you could also help him. You immediately recite a spell to activate the talisman. You seem to see the talisman block the deadly attack from striking Marius just in time. Meanwhile, the Dragon Sea Talisman traps the Demon Emperor. Marius activates the talisman, which glows with a blazing light that eventually eviscerates the Demon Emperor. You slowly fall to the ground, feeling as if all of your energy has been drained.
お姉さん！お姉さん！
You hear Marius' heart-wrenching cries in your ears. You try your best to open your eyes and make sure he is okay, but... Villa Rome. You are unsure how much time has passed before you slowly open your eyes. A familiar sight greets you. You are back in your bedroom on Chengchua Mountain. A familiar soothing incense stick is burning as Marius looks at you, his face full of concern. From what you can see, he looks safe and sound. It's like everything that happened during the battle was simply a distant dream that has nothing to do with you at this moment.
やっと起きた。気分はどう？
Marius holds onto your hand tightly. You can only pull his hand along as you moved it to caress his thin face. Okay, is everything over?
万葉王は封印したし、聖戦教の正気も消えたよ。
What about you?
俺？あの時、ご神父を使ってくれただろ？もちろん大丈夫だよ。
Marius tells you that half a month has already passed since the battle. He was not seriously injured, but you fell unconscious after being hit, so your master rushed you both back to Zhenghua Mountain.
無事でよかった。このまま目覚めなかったら、俺。
You take Marius' hand and place it on your cheek to feel his warmth. I'm glad we're both still alive.
本当によかった。
Marius' response is gentle, but you sense that something is wrong. You pull his wrist over to check his pulse. All the magic that was originally in Marius' body is completely gone. Even his spiritual core has been somewhat damaged. His injuries are far more serious than they were 300 years ago. Your magic! Marius pulls his wrist away, casually covering it with his sleeve.
なんてことないよ。300年前と同じように、また修行を始めればいいだけだから。これまでの経験がある分、今度はもっと早く元通りになると思うし、お姉さんは一切気にしなくていいよ。
But that being said, a damaged spiritual core doesn't only lead to dissipating magic, it also causes physical pain. You can't stop the stinging sensation in your eyes, but you also can't think of anything to say to comfort him. He has suffered through these hardships before.
お姉さん、本当に心配しなくていいからね。この通り、元気なわけだしさ。それに今はもっと大事なことをしてもらいたいし。
What is it? Barrett's eyes widen as if he's been wrong, and he pulls the well-kept marriage talisman out of his robes.
ほら、ここ。お姉さんの母印が押してあるでしょ。あ、今になってやっぱなしってのは聞かないからね。
You take the marriage talisman from him, looking at your clear fingerprints on the paper. Have I ever taken anything back? If you're really that worried, we can go see Master right now. It's up to you.
その必要はない。お前たちの縁談ならとっくに認めておるからな。
Without you noticing, your master and the other junior disciples have already gathered at the door. Your master checks your pulse. After making sure everything is fine, he looks at you and Marius with a smile.
星を読んできた。儀式は3ヶ月後の8日にするといいだろう。その頃には体調も回復しているだろうし、婚儀を行うにはちょうどいいはずだ。
Your master is extremely talented at observing celestial phenomena, so you are confident that the day he chose will be perfect. You and Marius look at each other, smiling.
ありがとうございます。
よかった。これで300年ぶりに小作山で祝い事ができるね。盛大にやらなくちゃ。
Jashan, our sect is small and humble. We shouldn't go overboard or be wasteful. Upon hearing this, Jashan squeezes through the crowd and casually sits on the edge of your bed.
姉弟子、知らないんですか？ 泉さんが結納代わりに家業をすべて小作山に移してくれたんですよ。なので今はそれを求めて人が殺到していて、いろんな場所で資金が潤っているんです。
You shift your attention to Marius and he gives a helpless shrug.
もう何百年も経ってるっていうのに、泉家の呉服がここまで売れるとはね。
そうそう、今じゃ小作山もすっかり人気の観光地です。ですから姉弟子、あなたは花嫁として盛大に祝福されるべきです。何も心配せず私たちに任せてくださいね。
I'm definitely going to worry if I leave it to you.
姉弟子、少しは私のメンツも気にしてくださいよ。これでも姉弟子の次に入った彼らの先輩なんですから。
Xiaoshan's complaint causes a roar of laughter to come from the crowd as you are all drawn into the joyous atmosphere. Your master soon asks everyone to leave so you can rest, leaving only you and Marius in the room.
やっと二人きりになれたね。
He holds your hand, sitting quietly on the edge of the bed while embracing you. Snow begins to fall outside the window. When you suddenly realize your wedding in 3 months will be held during spring, full of new life and blooming flowers, you can't help but smile.
何を考えてるの？随分と楽しそうだけど。
I'm thinking about what you're going to look like in your wedding outfit. Marius laughs softly. He rests his chin on your shoulder before tightening his grip around your waist slightly.
どうだろうね。でも婚礼の衣装を着たお姉さんはきっとこの世で一番綺麗だと思うよ。
There you go again, talking nonsense.
そんなことないよ。その日が来たらお姉さんもわかるから。
3 months later, the wedding is held as scheduled. You and Marius didn't plan on inviting too many people to join you. The attendees only include your master, the other Chengshua mountain disciples, and people from the foot of the mountain who came out to help. You get dressed early in the morning with Xiaoshan's help. After putting on your beautiful new clothes, you stride toward your happiness, surrounded by everyone's well wishes. Chengshua Mountain Square. The sun is shining brightly, and you can hear the sound of a waterfall as the snow melts on this spring day. You walk to the square where you cultivated countless times before. Marius is wearing new red clothing, and the trees rustle in the breeze. His hair is pulled up high, giving him a more spirited and youthful air. He is standing amidst hanging red silk, greeting all the guests. Marius. You recite his name in your heart, and Marius turns around as if he sensed something. A trace of surprise flashes through his eyes. But more than that, you sense happiness. Before he has time to say anything, you both rush toward one another, surrounded by the crowd. Your red veil billows in the warm spring breeze, and it falls back down over both of your heads. Marius holds you with one arm and lifts the veil with the other. It's like you are in your own little world. The noise of the crowd gradually fades. Only the sound of each other's heartbeats, communicating your love, remains.
すごく綺麗だよ、お姉さん。
Wait, give me the veil.
今はまだ儀式中じゃないんだし、もう少し見せてよ。
He holds your hands, tightening his grip ever so slightly. You inevitably move closer to him. The early spring air is still somewhat cold, making your breath seem even hotter. You tighten your grip on his clothes. I'm afraid you won't get the chance to see it in the future.
それはそうだけど、今日は今日しかないから。
Not only does Marius argue back, but he also pulls the veil down slightly, blocking everyone's view.
そういえば、お姉さんにはまだ婚夫の効果を説明してなかったね。
Doesn't it bless the couple with a long and happy marriage?
それだけじゃないんだ。婚夫とは祝福であり、加護であり、責任でもある。端的に言えば一心同体。お姉さんは俺の全てを感じ取れるようになるし、俺もお姉さんの全てを感じ取れるようになるんだ。
So, I could sense you that day because of the marriage talisman.
うん。誰かに自分を丸ごと捧げる。それがこの婚夫の意味なんだ。ということだから、準備はいい？お姉さん。
Don't you think it's too late to be asking me that question?
ごめんね。本当なら結ぶ前に聞くべきなんだけど、断られたらどうしようって。
You softly pat Marius' chest to stop him from continuing. Marius, I'm ready. You don't ever have to ask me again.
俺もだ。今世でも来世でも、何に生まれ変わったとしても、ずっと一緒にいよう。
Marius' promise is like a warm current flowing into your heart. You want to say something, but you feel yourself choking up for some reason. Words alone aren't enough to express the ripples stirring in your chest. Fortunately, Marius knows exactly what you want to say. He pulls your veil down slightly, and a soft kiss lands on your lips.
あれ？どうして泉さんが赤い布をかぶってるの？
あれでいいんですよ。彼は姉弟子に婿入りするんですから。そういう意味では赤い布をかぶるのは彼の方でしょ。
ほんと、よくそんなへりくつを思いつくね。
As you listen to Joshan and Vincent bickering, you and Marius can't help laughing. At this moment, the officiant states that the auspicious time has arrived and everyone around you begins grumbling. It seems that only you and Marius are unconcerned with the chaos. You simply look at each other as the veil dances in the wind.
お姉さん、半月ぶりだね。寂しかった？いや、まだ聖戦教だよ。これは泉家の伝影術ってやつ。水があれば遠く離れていてもこうして会うことができる。ただまあ、お互いに触ったりはできないんだけどね。本当なら今すぐに抱きしめたい。最近は特に忙しかったから。聖戦教の妖魔は全部片付けたし、住民の避難もちゃんと終わらせた。それと収束の森にも行ってきて、結界の調子も確認してきた。じゃあ報告は以上。ここからは俺たち2人の話をしようか。聞いたんだけど、専門の夫婦は結婚してから3年は旅をしながら修行するんだって。道中で妖魔も退治できるし、相手との仲も深まるしでお得だよね。それでお姉さんはいつになったら連れてってくれるの？務めを果たしたらいつでも？もしかしてもう計画してたりした？やっぱりそうだったんだ。よかった。結婚してから半年だけど、旅はまだしてないからね。これを機にお姉さんと世界中を見て回って、美味しいものをたくさん食べて、綺麗な風景を見ておきたいな。なら3年じゃ足りないかもね。でも大丈夫。 旅が終わっても俺たちにはたくさんの時間があるから。うん、約束だよ。俺が帰ったらじっくり計画しよう。